Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about some Dungeons and Dragons. Now, this was around the first time I've ever played this game, so we didn't really know too much about it. I looked on a few tutorials, learned how to play. None of my other friends had played, so we just kind of went along with it. So, if this story kind of breaks the rules a little bit, sorry, we're not masters. So, today we're going to be talking about Glen the Orc. This was a character that my friend Owen made, and basically it was a 7-foot tall, beefy ogre. I believe it was a fighter, and his intelligence was all the way down, and basically he was just going to be the beefy, strong, intimidating orc that he is. And he didn't really have much of a backstory, but he didn't need one because he was Glen the Orc. And the story started off with them riding in a wagon with a mysterious man accompanying them. And they didn't know anything about this man except he was in super cool looking armor. And they started asking questions about him to try to figure out who he was. And Glen the Orc tries to intimidate him. He wants to do an intimidation check. So this is the first encounter. He fails. He rolls a 1. Ends up crying the whole trip down to the village. And the black-cloaked evil Superman just disappears. They get into a village, and the other character accompanying our party, I forget his name, so I'm just going to say Austin. Austin ends up flirting with the bartender and made her fall in love with him. And Glen the Orc was like, I can do that too. And he tries to do an intimidation check just to, get some information out of her and try to get free housing for the night. Well, he fails again, and this big, beefy, burly bartender lady throws him out of the inn. So Austin ends up sleeping good at night with the bartender lady protecting her, and Owen, Glen the Orc, is sleeping outside in the cold. And some goblins end up showing up and taking all of Glen the Orc's gold and some of his stuff. And the bartender lady safely protects Austin by breaking the goblins over her thick neck. And that was a pretty good encounter. I didn't really expect any of that to happen. But then we go, and they go to... This is a little bit later on in the story. They go to a Coliseum type thing. It was like a city surrounded by a castle, and they had to get in to go kill a princess. And there's a rope shop outside of it because I try to leave things open. You don't really want a one-path story as a DM. They could either try to go through the regular way or use the ropes that were pretty obvious to try to sneak over the wall that the city had. Well, I made the entrance stupidly hard for no reason, just because I didn't think they would pick that. I had the guards say, if you go through this entrance, then you'll have to participate in our 250th Coliseum tournament, in which you fight our champion. And the champion was a tiefling assassin. So they were all level 1. So pretty rough opponent, not too easy, and only 2 of the party members could go in. And so 2 of them go in. They decided to fight this 250-time champion in the arena. And they go, and they fight her. And Austin is a 3-foot tall, 400-pound dwarf. So he's having fun spinning his greatsword around in circles. And They are both fighting, and there's a pit of snakes in the middle of the Coliseum that they both try to push each other down. And Glen the Orc keeps on trying to push the tiefling assassin down to the pit, just fails over and over again. He had the worst rolls ever this whole entire game. He kept on getting 1s, 5s, like, kept on missing everything. I know one fight against some wolves, he missed every single shot, and the other teammates had to help him and do everything. Well, tiefling assassin pulls out her dagger, stabs him, dead. And he's on the ground incapacitated. Austin can't get to him. He's preoccupied by the tiefling. And the third teammate, Jacob, goes and he's looking in the crowd and he wants to try to help them. So he was at the rope shop for a while, so he was kind of distracted, but he finally goes to the crowd to help him. And he didn't really want to break the rules or anything, so he's just looking there. And ends up, Glen the Orc gets 3 bad rolls on death's door and dies. And Jacob ends up throwing I believe it was a flaming arrow, shooting a flaming arrow into the Colosseum, and it ends up hitting Glen the Orc's dead body and exploding, or end up burning in flame. So there's just this Coliseum fight, and there's this rotting, dead, burning body of Glen the Orc. And Jacob gets escorted by the guards, and he is kicked out. So Austin actually manages to defeat the Dark Tiefling Assassin, and he's crowned champion of the Colosseum, and he is paraded around town as the champion. And then I wanted to bring Owen back into the story, because it's no fun just sitting there dead while all your friends play Dungeons and Dragons. So we encounter a character in the bathroom, and it was his name was like Dave the Elf or something. He was an elf. And they go and they meet him in the bathroom, and he's just like, I think it was like chugging garbage or something. I don't know what he was doing. He was being weird. He's a very weird character. And they meet up with him, and they start talking. And Jacob had high charisma, like high persuasion, so he would try to persuade everything. And the elf was extremely dumb, so Jacob he's like, I don't like your name. Can you change your name to Glen the Orc? They roll. Perfect 20 crit. So his name's Glen the Orc now. The elf is like, yeah, I think I like this name. I think I'm going to roll with it. They go, and Austin, the hero, wants to have a meeting or council with the princess, who's the evil sorcerer that they've been trying to kill. That they've been told to kill by some random ghost, who actually wasn't an evil apparition at all, or evil sorcerer at all, but they listened to a ghost the entire story, so she was actually a nice princess. But we'll get to that. So they meet with the princess, and she talks to them, and she's very kind, and asks what they're doing, asks what they want, and Austin persuades the guards to go away. And she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Hushes the guards away, and they talk some more. When they're in the middle of talking, Jacob bursts out, Can you change your name to Glen the Orc, please? And the princess is like, wow, that's very peculiar, but I mean, I'll think about it. And I was like, this is dumb. So I changed the, he had a +5 modifier on persuasion checks, Jacob did. So I made the DC, or the roll he had to get for that to happen 24. So pretty hard. He rolls a 19. I am astounded. It is crazy that this game has gone like this. But first time playing D&D, so nobody really knows how crazy it can get. So we go, and I see the princess just pops a light bulb in her head, like, yes, that is an amazing name. Now that I think about it, I think I will change my name. And she goes to her little porch, her little window, and she opens the doors to greet the crowd. And she screams out to the crowd, everybody, my name is Glen the Orc now. I am Glen the Orc. And Austin sneaks up behind the princess and stabs her in the back. And the guards aren't there, so nobody sees it. And yeah, she's stabbed in the back, and the guards come running out, chasing Austin, Glen the Orc, and Jacob for killing the new princess, Glen the Orc. And they're all running, and they see the princess still moving. And somebody's like, no, we have to make sure she's dead. And Owen, the Glen the Orc, the elf, sits back, and he's like, I've got this, guys. And he goes to the princess, lifts her up, and actually does a good roll for once, and suplexes her into the ground and breaks her neck. So Glen the Orc suplexes Glen the Orc into the ground, and makes another roll, and gets away. And that is the end of the story. Glen the Orc 1 dies. Glen the Orc 2 suplexes and kills Glen the Orc 3. That is the story and tale of Glen the Orc. And I thank you guys for watching. What a hero. What a useless hero.